We move to the last session of the day. This is Make in India. Now, again, Prime Minister Modi has rolled out the red carpet for the manufacturers to come in, manufacture in India, invest in India, invest their knowledge, their experience, their expertise, and at the same time, he's also asked the Indian manufacturers to concentrate on their quality, and as we mentioned in the morning about zero effect and zero defect, so that we can actually have that made in India as a brand which we can feel proud of. But again, in a country, as we mentioned in the morning, a country which is more quantity conscious rather than quality conscious, how do we bring about this attitudinal change? He's rolled out the red carpet, but that is the red tapeism is something which is a big challenge to encounter here. As we talk about red carpet, it has also to be a green carpet with minimum damage to our environment. And again, as we mentioned in the morning, the MSME sector, which today and in the years to come is going to be actually forming the backbone of this manufacturing sector, that needs to be encouraged. There has to be more incentives. Another challenge which we have is that the Make in India campaign was launched on the very same day. In fact, on the very same day, Make in China campaign was also launched. So we have a strong competition again with China there. And how do we outpace China's supremacy in the manufacturing sector? All this we discuss, and of course it was mentioned about R&D, concentrating on R&D. We can, if we concentrate on that, then only we get the quality which we are talking about. So invite our session speakers who are going to be delving more into detail and extending practical solutions to make in India campaign a success. Inviting our moderator, Dr. Uday Sani, Lean Ops and Business Transformation expert. He has trained over 1,000 green belts, over 100 black belts, and over 30 master belts with excellent feedback demonstrating his mastery of the Lean Six Sigma toolkit. Details more on your screen. Inviting Ms. Pinky Anand, the Additional Solicitor General of India. She's a senior advocate at the Supreme Court, distinguished practice in diverse areas. She's All India in charge legal cell BJP, member of All India National Executive of BJP, spokesperson, panelist BJP, and she represents the party at various levels, national, international. Inviting Mr. K.C. Mehra, a person with extensive experience, more than I think 5 decades of extensive industry experience, former Deputy Managing Director, Tata Steel Limited, former Deputy CMD of Forbes Group, and presently he is Chairman of Shapoorji Pallonji Private Limited, and on the boards of various, he is also the Chairman of Quality Council of India. Inviting Dr. Ashok Puri, Managing Director, Lean India Consulting Group. This is division of ICE Management Services Private Limited and Lean Horizons Consulting India Private Limited, and a part of Lean Horizons Consulting USA, and this is one of the known consultants in operations management and operations excellence in India. Inviting Mr. Balbir Singh, He's working as Vice President India Region for MSN, more than 19 years of experience in the industry, and experience covers the fields of software design, implementation, release, quality assurance, testing, performance, etc. Inviting our next speaker, panelist, Mr. Rahul Vasan. He's Director, AT Exports, astute professional, 12 years of experience in manufacturing, outsourcing, transition, training and development, and consulting. And inviting Mr. Subhashish Das. He's Group President, Godavari Power and Ispat Limited. Professional experience, more than 23 years. Extensive experience in human resource management and hands-on experience in developing innovative HR initiatives to streamline processes and capitalize on organizational growth opportunities. So once again, welcome to all the panelists, and I hand over to the session moderator for the proceedings. Thank you.
Hello. Can you hear me? Okay, so instead of asking the organizers, maybe I should ask the audience how much time do we have. right? Because it is very late in the evening. Absolutely. In some ways, I think we've...
35 minutes to close with the award ceremony.
Okay. So we'll try to keep it very, very tight. And, I was trying to see, how we can save time. One way to do it is kind of give a little bit of structure to the conversation, right? So what I'm suggesting is that what we'll do is, rather than directly plunging into a conversation or a discussion, we'll kind of throw open a question to the panel where they can kind of give out their feedback. Exactly. And then, at the end of it, during the question and answer sessions, maybe whatever the audience wants to know more about, maybe we'll get in the conversation around that. Right? Absolutely, absolutely. So just to start, Make in India, there have been some clear goals suggested, but I'm still a little confused about the goals, to be honest. Okay, so, we'll start by asking our panel about the goals of Make in India. What I know about the goals is that there is, by 2020, we want to employ an additional 100 million people, right? What I also know is that going from 16%, we want to take manufacturing to about 25% of our GDP, right? Now, the second goal particularly is a little confusing to me in the sense that when we say we are just shifting the balance into 25%, is that 25% or like that 11% or 9% additional output we are talking about, or is it the kind of the shift in the the balance of the economy, so to say? The second part is what is the connection between the two, right? So just on the goals, we'll start off no particular order, just go in one direction. Let's talk about what this panel understands about the goals of Make in India.
Hi, good evening, everybody. For me, Make in India is actually very confusing because of the industry I come from. To put things into perspective, it's a leather shoe industry. It's an $11 billion industry employing 2.5 million people. The projected statistics say we are supposed to employ 3 million people by 2020. Now look at two things over here. What does a labor-intensive industry need? Workforce. Second, it needs raw material. We say leather industry is a high-growth sector industry, but we have not addressed some of the basic questions. The raw material is not sustainable. We say we have to increase the exports in leather sector. We don't have any cattle breeding happening at the moment. Nobody's talking about that. Everybody's talking about increasing the manufacturing output. Secondly, it is a labor-intensive industry. As a businessman today, I have to think twice if I want to take an extra order because I don't know where the labor is going to come from. The way it works is we need 10,000 people. We go to the ministry. The ministry says, okay, wait for 6 months. We train these people for you. Then you'll be allowed to take on the additional orders. I think the goals get confused in this context. I hope I'm not losing you guys.
But I think to the point that the goals...
Yeah, so the goals are increase manufacturing, increase employment. Those are the two primary goals. And these would, of course, then you can have it export related as well. That gets you forex in. Thank you.
I'm a little bewildered at times when the thoughts come through as to what these kind of concepts mean. I don't think these are solutions in a capsule which gives you all the answers. I think this is just a roadmap. And in that roadmap, if all of you who seem to be principally entrepreneurs, industrialists of your own standing, you have to find the solutions. It is not 10,000, 100,000 the government is going to provide. You are suddenly going to have the skilled labor available for you. You will have the raw material available for you from the mines or wherever else it is to come. The idea is possibly just not that. I think the idea is, I was trying to title it as reinventing Swadeshi. I mean, it's not that you are talking about Swadeshi as in the earlier good old days, but ultimately it is Swadeshi in a different way. When I used to travel abroad, and since all of us did, I remember about 30 years back, I saw a track bottom somewhere in London, Oxford Street. I looked at the label and it said Made in India. I saw another one, it was Made in Pakistan for that matter. And I just left it. I just remembering my own sensation. So the idea is ultimately A, to have pride in what you do. B, our country can do nothing but to develop, and development today has been already crystallized into infrastructure, into manufacturing, into gross domestic product and employment. The youth population of this country is going to go beyond even China's by 2020, leave alone today. So the idea is to cater and to expand the capacities into that level which will absorb all the energies of the youth and provide them with a livelihood. What manner it is to be done, I don't think Modi ji ever intended possibly to provide the entire structuring. That is for all of you to do, and you all seem very competent to do so. So where that will come, when it will come, that is another matter. But I do think that this entire concept is something which we could have been craving for, and it has become, as he thought probably, a social movement. The idea, whether it is Safai Andolan, whether it is Make in India, the idea is involve people into conversation and engage people's interest and curiosities, and then leave people to do how they should do it in a planning fashion. Aside from the delicensing of certain situations, 72 hours, the websites, the red carpets, the trying to reduce the bureaucratic entanglements, that is part and parcel of the process, but essentially it is a roadmap.
Thank you. I think, well, good evening everyone. I'd also like to agree with Pinky on one point, but I am now 75 years old and working for 55 years, out of which 50 years was in a company called Tata Steel. I'm still there. I did a lot of work with TCS, with Fakir Kohli and everyone, and all the time then we are looking at this. We had a boss called J.R.D. Tata. I go back, was very relevant. He always thought that we should do things in India and make things in India. Along the way, I have to tell you that in 1975, 78, 1980, Tata's was about $22 billion. 71% of the total produce of that GDP, if you want to call it, for a corporation, came from within this country. Last year, we have hit $101 billion, and 72% of this comes from outside of India. Now, that I think says a lot, and I think what has happened is a lot of focus has been brought into the picture by talking about Make in India. Made in India, unfortunately, we got a bad label, largely because, and also in Forbes, I headed about 8 textile mills. From metallurgy to textile was quite a change. But we didn't do too well, and quality was mentioned by you very correctly, because what we sent as a sample and what we sent as bulk supplies was different. It's changed substantially now. But a reputation is like, I'd like to go back to Shakespeare. I've been 48 years in production, but he said something which is very relevant. He said, he that takes from me cash takes nothing. This is, this mine, this trash. But he who takes from me my good name takes that which makes him not rich indeed, but makes me terribly poor. That's what happened to us in quality in the years to come. Today I think I've dealt with every single line in quality, but this call that has come now and Make in India, and I agree with you, it's confusing unless you look at it deeply. It doesn't say you make everything here or abroad or whatever, but for God's sake, contribute to the GDP. It's a shame that we were at 21% of GDP in manufacturing. Today, services are at 62%, which is a wonderful thing. I have nothing against it. And we have dropped now to about 11.5. So you have to pick up manufacturing. How you do it ultimately will help the people in this country, help us all. Why? Because you're producing goods and services. And I've been to all the places, starting with Jamshedpur, which was 7 villages. I've seen the old photographs where people are really, I don't even say what they were cooking, what they got, they got. Today, we progressed tremendously. I don't agree with many things. We are bad in some things. But we've also progressed immensely, and it's the individual who's going to make that progression. The last point, quite frankly, is okay, we haven't done too well in the development of technology so that we can do things on our own. Hence, we have got people, I'm chairman of a company called Tata Hitachi. We make these huge shovels and bulldozers, and, you know, we are the poorest in terms of hydraulic systems. Till today, we are importing hydraulic systems from Japan. So we told them, you come here. They have taken over. We got now 4 plants built with them, and they've done work on it, which we unfortunately have not done. So Make in India means if you have a foreign partner, rather than you're going there with the Jaguar and the Land Rover and all the 5 quarters plants we have purchased and all, get them here. Try and give the jobs to your own people, what guys like J.R.D. Tata and G.D. Birla and a lot of the elderly people did. One last point on quality and environment. We, at my level were party, and we were the guys who were really plunderers of the environment, because when we had our power plants and all, they were spewing filth and smoke. This is when I'm a director on the board of TERI, so all these things started at that time. Then we would come to Delhi and see Indraprasth Power Station. The government on one hand were giving us lectures about environment and really ruining this city on the other hand. So we have to change all this. There's no point reinventing the wheel. So you make whatever you can, getting your people from anywhere in the world. If you have the influence, bring it here. Okay, we have a lot of problems with labor, but I have to tell you, in Tata Steel from 1928, there is not one single man they lost because of a labor problem. So how is it some people can do it and some can't? I am on the board of CII and ASSOCHAM, and we are preparing lots of problems on labor matters for the government. But then I look in the mirror and say, hey, hello, I haven't had these problems, including in Kharagpur, which is the worst during communist times. We have 5 plants. So ultimately, it's the individual who has to do it. All of you sitting here, I agree. I think she said these things can be. But what the PM has done has brought focus back into this, and we have to see how we can encash on it for the good of our people. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I think I would like to take it in a different way. This Make in India is actually a after effect of self-realization of being proud Indians. I remember I was attending one Chintan conference of BJP in Ahmedabad, which Modi ji, when he was chief minister, he was addressing. और उनको लगता था कि बड़ा he was feeling little shameful कि यार ये क्या है, इतने such a huge population, such a great workforce that we have. और आज हम कोका कोला भी बाहर से पी रहे हैं, मैकडोनल्ड भी बाहर से ले रहे हैं, पेप्सी भी बाहर से आ रही है, चिप्स भी वही बना रहे हैं यहाँ करके. मोबाइल फोन हम अभी तक नहीं बना पाए. 100 million mobile phones we are using, and there is not a single Tata is not there, Ambanis are not there, nobody is there. We are just depending on China. When you talk of hardware in digital India, where are we? Is there any computer that we are manufacturing today here? Even chip manufacturing unit which was set up, semiconductor complex, went off. उसके बाद आप स्पोर्ट्स खेलते हैं तो आपको जो कोई जूता बाहर का ही मिलेगा. एडिडास ले लो, रीबॉक ले लो, नाइके ले लो. देयर इज नथिंग दैट वी हैव व्हिच इज समथिंग इंडिया, समथिंग स्वदेशी, और probably we don't want to accept. Look at any toothpaste that we have, it's all multinationals. Look at Surf, look at Sabuns, look at Colgate, look at Lux. So there is nothing Indian. So he was talking about this. Look at the awareness of a leader. You see how when he was brainstorming with his people, कि ये सब हो रहा है, और उसके बावजूद भी आज अगर गुजरात में किसी इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट को अगर अपना बॉयलर चलाना हो तो उसके लिए भी एक इंस्पेक्टर बुलाना पड़ता है. बॉयलर इंस्पेक्टर आता है और वो आकर के बैठता है और पूछता है मेरे को क्या मिलेगा, तब बॉयलर को चलाने दूंगा. पोल्यूशन के लिए एफ्लुएंट ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट आप लगाते हैं, उसको भी अगर आपने अप्रूव कराना है बिफोर यू कमीशन इट, तो पोल्यूशन बोर्ड के पास जाना पड़ेगा. आप अपनी फैक्ट्री चलाना चाहते हैं, उसके लिए आपको लाइसेंस चाहिए, तो लगे रहो. कितने अप्रूवल? 137 अप्रूवल. और on ease of doing business, there is a data from World Bank where they say that India is 142 among 189 countries, and we are below countries like Nepal, Bhutan, Mali, Bangladesh and Pakistan, including Ethiopia and Mozambique. So why a multinational company which is thinking of doing business would like to come to India? तो ये जब चिंतन शुरू हुआ तो इसमें बात निकल के आई कि भाई अब कुछ जागना पड़ेगा. शायद कुछ पिछली गवर्नमेंट्स होती रही, या कुछ जो हाल हम देख ही रहे हैं. वॉट एवर इज द पीपल हु आर, मिस्टर मुंजाल इज सिटिंग हियर एंड वी ऑल नो व्हाट आर द प्रॉब्लम्स. I'm consulting with more than 30 companies in India, and I know day in, day out what are the problems they are facing at micro level, even at macro level also. Whether it is issue of getting raw material, whether it is issue of getting power, whether it is issue of getting factory license, whether it is issue of getting labor license, or whether it is issue of controlling the labor. I know, you know, one simple example I'll give you. There is a place, Bawal, a very newly developed industrial area here near Delhi, maybe just about 70 kilometers away from Prime Minister's office. There is a Japanese company there which is supplying auto components to Maruti and other companies, automobile companies. And they called me, and there's a gentleman who was the MD, he was a Japanese. So he says, I need a consultant for making my managers go to the Gemba and work with the workers. Gemba means shop floor. He says, can you do that for me? Can you create that culture within the organization? I said, why? What is the problem? He says, I have got so much of hostility at the shop floor that my managers are scared to go to the shop floor and, you know, get the work done. And there are only 7-8 people who are the leaders there, who are attached to CPI, who are not letting us do anything here. And we have been to the Chief Minister, we have been to everybody, but we cannot take any action against these 7 people. So what is this environment that we are talking? Okay. So in all good senses, I think we have come to a stage, the objectives are very clear, that we have to now become self-reliant. We have to become better than what we were, and all the procedures, etc., have to be changed. We have to make it more business-friendly country. We have to see that we also, you know, foster innovation. We have so many institutes, IITs and R&D centers and all that. But what are we talking? We cannot even make one lay chips. So can we do that? Can we, at the end of this, you know, when you talk of it, at the end of it, what I say is, Modi ji ne bola ki, can we now say that we can become globally competitive and commercially come out with numbers so that we talk of a better trade deficit?
Thank you, Ashok. Good evening, everyone. Really glad to be here this evening. So Uday mentioned, in terms of goal, he mentioned certain figures. So I would like to take a step back and add 2 keywords to it, to the Make in India campaign. And those 2 words are what and whom, right? So what we would like to make in India and for whom we would like to make in India. So regarding what, I think we have enough examples in front of us from the world. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have China story in front of us, last 10 years, how they started and literally flooded world markets with their products. So that's in front of us, but then there are certain drawbacks of that as well, especially with concern to Indian market in terms of quality, sustainability and all that. So it's for us to think about it. And the other example that I would like to quote is Germany. So many years ago, they decided to make state-of-the-art products, very high on engineering and design, which pretty much even after 50 years, 70 years, nobody could replicate or match their competence. And example is automobile industry. So they have all the Daimler, Audi, and BMW brands, which they make. So it's pretty much for us to kind of think about what we would like to make in India. And having said that, a couple of thoughts associated with it. I think as far as I'm concerned, key is high-level engineering and IP. So intellectual property. That's the key, right? So biggest example in front of us today is Apple. We all know, use their products day in, day out in our daily lives. So one of their biggest manufacturers Foxconn, they pretty much manufacture 90% of their products. But then in terms of profit, they have only 3% of profit, while Apple earns 30% of the profits. So, so that's the key, design and engineering. The other side, maybe look at some of the segments which have not been explored so far. Renewable energy, so build a whole ecosystem around that and make products and services, target in the next 5 to 10 years where we could be the superpower of the world in that space. So those are some of the thoughts that, we need to think about on the what side. And then the other part is whom, for whom we would like to make in India, right? So very logical way, most of the discussions that I've been part of, literature that I've gone through, it talks about exports. Of course, we cannot deny that, earning forex is important for us. But then we as India, we have 1.25 billion people. Everybody in the world is coming to India to kind of find consumers in India. So that's something which that's one dimension which probably we need to focus more. Which is make products which could be consumed in the marketplace by Indian consumers. Right. So with that, I would like to hand it on.
Good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Das, not bitterly known by all of you. All of you are very, very established people in the entire country. I represent an industry, we are into steel manufacturing. We have presence in Chhattisgarh, Orissa and Andhra Pradesh. First of all, I would like to thank Honorable Prime Minister to have these captions, good titles. And I still believe that we are still in democracy. And we still believe and follow the Prime Minister of the country, which is very, very, pleasing for me, common people like me. And when you talk about Make in India, I had gone through the website because yesterday night I thought of speaking, and Mr. Mehra, in fact, I really have been very proud to be a part of your panelists. We have been heard because my father was a Tata employee, and you are there in Jamshedpur. So I again come back to steel industry. I basically is into HR and strategy. What I'm saying is, when you talk about Make in India, I had gone through the website. I have not found steel as a sector. There are two sectors which is associated with steel. One is automobiles and one is mining. And all of you are aware of what is happening in the mining for last 1.5 years. And maybe 7 days before, Tata Steel didn't have any mines to operate. And today, whatever empire has been created by Tata Steel because of the mining. I am sure if I am wrong, kindly clear me. What I am saying is that these industries as a whole, we are talking about export-import, we are talking about automobiles, we are talking about port, we are talking about everything on Make in India. And the website is very, very clear as far the goal of this Make in India is concerned. What I am talking about, see the industry which are already existing, as you rightly said, JRD Tata or Birlas. Are we going to have that sustainability of that industry which is already existing? Yes, the export-import gap is roughly around $250 billion. And the major threat is $50 billion which is coming from China. We need to create the zone, in port base, where like in China, getting the wool from New Zealand and Australia, again selling to them. Are we really going into that kind of stage where we can go talk about Make in India and then become independent? See, all these are there, and we have so many people, so many good people are here. We have all these thought process. As very rightly said, in one of the Manthan, if our Prime Minister can think of this kind of titles or this kind of issues, we can create n number of issues related to these kind of topics. What I am saying is that when you talk about these sectors, whatever 9 sectors which are there in the website, whether it's automobile, IT, or any other issues, we need to really focus on them and then make it as sustainable, whether we call people to establish. And the major issues are that we are very, very cheap as per the labor cost is concerned. The entire, whether it's the leather industry or steel or any industry, people are afraid of getting into big capex establishment in the country today. And red tapeism, you know, I was very, very happy, you know, Mr. Jha, which we're talking about, and it's good. We are talking about red tapeism, and today also in Delhi, if I found n number of things, 137, that leads to 1037, you know, things which needs to clarify by any of the ministry if you want to establish a industry. So what I'm saying is that let's understand whatever we wanted to do, whether it's Make in India or Made in India, let's make it a sustainable thing for whole life to come, so that we become internationally the leader of the entire world.
Thank you, Mr. Das.
Thank you.
So I think, as you can see, you know, just from the goals perspective, I was trying to jot down a list, and I've got things like investment, improve, you know, increasing investment, employment, GDP contribution, import substitution, technology, you know, technology growth, managing the environment, pride and self-reliance, making business easier, innovation and competitiveness. So many aspects of just this one area, right? So what we'll do is another quick round. Again, you literally have 20 seconds each to make your one single point each. So decide, pick your point, yeah, choose your weapon. And so what is the one thing that you see or don't see in the approach right now as is given by the Prime Minister and the ministry? What is it that you would want to sort of emphasize either as a best practice that, you know, that we should really push for this, or something which is lacking and therefore, you know, is a cause of concern? So back to Mr. Vasu.
Thank you. I think cluster-centric skill development is what I would push for. What this means is, if you have a cluster that produces, say, for example, shoes, take about 100 schools around it, 1,000 schools around it, teach the children about shoes right from once they're about in the 8th standard. Once they're in the 10th standard, start an apprentice program. Let them spend 2 hours in the factories just on the stitching lines. Pay them some stipend which feeds back into their tuition fee. You have a workforce coming up that is already there for you. The children have, by the time a child is about 18, he's already a man, he's already skilled enough to come into your industry. You solve a part of your manpower crunch right there. Thank you.
3 quick comments. One, I think when we are talking about Make in India, we do have to think about Make for India. When we are projecting this entire issue, the idea is to create more manufacturing outlets, creating more jobs, creating more employment. So somewhere down the line, the same has to translate definitely into Make for India as much as Make for exports. We need the foreign exchange, but we need to feed ourselves. Secondly, I do think we need a lot of emphasis on identifying and promoting Indian diversity. Right now, this entire concept of Make in India seems to be targeting more towards the multinational kind of manufacturing process, which subscribes to the Western, so-called Western requirements, rather than subscribing to what quality items might be, including the diverse items which India has its strength in, which might include, for example, agricultural products, because I think that is a very important issue. And as far as, for example, organic food, organic health products, organic beauty products, I mean, anywhere down that line, because we do have a lot of diversity, and I think I'm very strong on diversity. So I do believe that while we go towards unifying, we must also continue to protect our diversity.
I think we all have to develop an attitude where we know that a great stumbling block in this country, as has been mentioned, is generally the laws, rules, regulations and bureaucracy. Now, bureaucracy is even in our own companies. If you think that you don't have bureaucracy in large companies, you're sadly mistaken. But there have to be people who have to fight it and overcome that bureaucracy. Can you imagine in this country, if we did not have so many nays or so many no's? And as Krishan mentioned in the morning, I'm sorry, Sinha Sahab, I am also part of that group at that time. You were much younger than me. It was the fact that government, nobody interfered in software industry. We had 4 giants coming up. One went a little awry as part of Tech Mahindra, TCS, Wipro, Infosys, and of course at that time Satyam. So if you can remove all these impediments, as was mentioned, we are 142nd out of 148 countries. So somebody has to take part in that and say, remove the impediments that you have for people to do exactly what Pinky is saying and what you said. For God's sake, get on with it. But you can't if at every stage you have a stumbling block. Can you imagine, in spite of these stumbling blocks, this country has done some great things. Let's not overlook that. So if you didn't have the stumbling blocks, where you would be is a matter of conjecture and achievement.
I have 3 points. One is, I think we are very lucky that we have a leader like Mr. Modi. We are very fortunate as Indians. And under no circumstances we should lose this opportunity of idealizing him. So each one of us has to actually learn something from his actions, his thinking, and then we have to work towards that. The second is that we are talking of becoming China, Japan, America, Europe. We should also know what it takes to become one of those, particularly from our own perspective, that if we want to become a country like Japan or maybe Korea or China, then what each citizen has to do, what each one has to do, what is that change that we have to bring about. So that change agent is something that we need in ourselves. The third issue that I would like to address is about the SMEs. There are 45 million SMEs employing about 60 million people, forming about 17.4% of the GDP, and it's almost 40% of the Indian exports. And if you look at the condition of these SMEs, under what circumstances they are working, I think these SMEs need special attention. Large organizations can always take care of themselves because they have the resources, but SMEs are definitely much more dependent on the support that they receive from the government, and particularly from the point of view of the cost of capital, which is one of the highest in the world today. We are talking of commercial interest rates of 16%, whereas in China you are talking of 7 to 8%. So if we want to be competitive, and that's where SMEs are going to take us, we need to concentrate on that.
So there are a lot of good parties, a lot of initiatives going on by the Modi government. So I would like to combine two buzzwords. So one, Make in India, that we are discussing now, and the other is smart cities. So how manufacturing has been happening so far, because they need a huge chunk of land, and getting land in a city which has residential labor easily available, manpower easily available, all the other resources easily available. It's so expensive that it's practically unviable for that business to operate. So typically they choose a land which is barren, which is hundreds of kilometers away from the main population, civilization. So how do we expect that industry to exist, right? So I would like to club that with a smart cities concept that's going on. So probably I think what we need is manufacturing cannot operate in vacuum. So it has to have civilization around it. It needs roads, infrastructure, people, business parks, hospitals, all the other things that are required for human civilization. So clubbing them together, make smart cities and have special provision for manufacturing, huge manufacturing facilities in and around those smart cities. So that's what my recommendation would be.
I have got very clear 3 things which I would like to share with all my fellow colleague and the audience. One is that we have the highest coastline in the entire country. We need to develop a port-based clusters of any industry, whichever industry which you would like to invite. And the second thing is, instead of talking about not consuming Pepsi or McDonald's and all that, stop import. Third issue is that the defense sector, which has got around 70,000 crores budget in the country, we need to really have, indigenous things which has to be as per the Make in India concept is concerned. There are 3 things which I'd like to share with all of you.
Thank you. I'm just switching the mics around, so I don't know whether confused the guy in the audio. But if you can hear me, that's fine. What we do is now we'll open it up. So they talked about what the goals are. They talked about some of the critical factors that they want to emphasize from their perspective. So we'll open it up for some questions, maybe about 3 of them. I think that's all we have time for. And if it's a clarification, we won't sound that, but if it's like a more open-ended one, we will sound that. So, Mr.
Actually, I think what you mentioned about MSMEs is very important. And the Indian definition of MSMEs are wrong. I mean, it's really made to do chori of excise duty. We have written a letter to I'm on the CII National Panel on MSMEs. I'm also on the Ministry of MSMEs expert committee. And we have told them that you should use the European Union definition of MSME, while the Indian definition is, as I said, is too small. And now 67 years of independence has passed. We can't be, we can't be sort of protecting them anymore. The European Union definition of MSMEs goes up to investment of about 344 crores and sales of 400 crores. And I can tell you, because I've lived in Germany and Japan, the MSMEs there are world class, and they have maximum 250 employees or something. So that's one area, and I'm going to give you some literature at the end of to all the panelists. I've given to some others. There's a whole letter to the Prime Minister on MSMEs, what should be done. Because I agree with you, because that is the dynamo of the Indian economy. In fact, everybody in the world was a MSME once. IBM was a MSME, Infosys was a MSME, Hero Cycles was a MSME, Ford Motor was a MSME. You name any company in the world, they started off like that. You don't start with 20,000 employees.
I have got only question. Making India is not only very important to sustain Make in India. We must count the sustenance of Make in India, and that too only can come thanks to Meher Sahab when I was invited in the Quality Council India conference. The two things, if you do, the sustenance of Make in India, the quality, whatever you produce is a quality product. Sir, when you employ the people, 20,000, make it 10,000 employee, but make it quality. Second thing, the accountability, the corporate culture, time-bound programs. With the Solicitor General sitting here, I would like to appeal to the government. Pakistan in 24 hours banned the Phansi hanging. That what they banned, they have lifted up the ban, and 8 people have been given Phansi. We in our country, we have got no time-bound judiciary. The decisions are taking years together. So let's have time-bound program for everything we want to sustain Make in India. Everywhere the sustain of India will only come. Just in time. Should be some time-bound. There should be some limit. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Puri made quite a few lucid points. I would say that Make in India has to be clubbed with Made in India. I'm just going to give you one illustration, and then there needs to be a strategy, a very deep thought strategy for Make in India. I feel sorry that if the Prime Minister of this country was to put his salary in the State Bank of India account, he would be given a debit card which has a MasterCard or a Visa to it. It's very sad that portion of his salary would go abroad, because every swipe, the money goes out. Now, no, that's what I'm saying. This is the tragedy of India first. Now, I would say that the strategy required is that every embassy outside the country, in every country, they have to be strong marketing agents there, which maps every district of the world. You have database companies which tell you whose buying power is what in every part of the world. That is what our foreign affairs have to do. Identify areas. Ek jhadu bhi agar jayega Tamil Nadu se, I'm sure there will be some takers in Africa. So everywhere around the world, if we have very strong marketing team in our external affairs, then every area of what we can sell outside, how we can sell outside, how can we distribute the making it in different districts of the country, that would be a real Make in India possibility.
you need to be able to produce competitively, high quality stuff competitively. And then finally, you need to have access to the supply chain, the input, so to say. So in many ways, all three things are to be touched in Make in India for it to succeed. If any one of these is missed out, it is not going to succeed, right? And I think throughout the day, we talk about manpower, right, and skilled manpower. If the situation is where we have to kind of take commission to hire, and then once you hire, you can't fire, and if we still come to that point, stay at that stage, then you really will not get there no matter how good the program is. So with that, I'll kind of close the session and give back about 25 minutes to the organizers instead of the 1 minute that Mr. Khanna gave back. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Sani. We were almost made in time. So thank you to our panelists. May I request Mr. Krishnan Khanna to kindly present the mementos. Everyone, yeah. ऐसे ही अभी तो ऐसे ले आओ. Let's wait to have to carry.
Just start from
The lady first. The lady first.
Now you get.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you.